Greetings. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so this is the Halloween special. It's going to be Halloween in about 10 minutes. So this is Beetlejuice Halloween special. And Edgar Allan Poe. And then Frankenstein. So, yeah, Beetlejuice is kind of a funny one. It's obviously a demonic being, so I'll be careful with all that. But the story, the movie, it came from it's a Hollywood creation. It just came out of nowhere, basically. But it is very creative. And Beetlejuice is only in the movie for like 20 minutes. The movie is named after him. He's mentioned, but he's only in it for 20 minutes, something like that. It's not very much. So yeah, it's pretty funny. The neither world, it's neither hell or heaven. So it's pretty funny. So yeah, and Beetlejuice is just like I don't know what he is, there's a word for it, but I guess do work for other people that died. It was put that way. Anyway, they made a cartoon show about it, so. Yeah, I think that was pretty successful. They've been trying to make a sequel forever. I don't know if that'll ever happen. They talk about it's Halloween, so they probably mention it. Edgar Allan Poe, that's really the big star of all this. I don't think I've ever think about Edgar Allan Poe all year round. So for him to show up, as I was putting this together, is a perfect. He's still haunted even after all this time. So he wrote the poem, The Raven. I don't think it was that well known during his time. He published his own works, and after he died, he became more popular to teach it in schools. I don't know if they're teaching in schools kind of mocking him. It was like, we kind of ignored you your whole life. No. Anyway. And Frankenstein, or actually it's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. That was written in like end of the 1800s, I believe. It was written in Switzerland. So I think it was like a story. There was like, I guess they're in like a castle or some kind of mansion or something. It was a higher elite, like group of artists. And they're all come up with stories, and I guess Mary Shelley came up with this idea, inspired by others, I imagine. So, so with Beetlejuice's energies, it's basically just a prankster being overall. I just did an earlier recording of Journey to Truth. Yeah, so my energy is shot after that. So I was going to answer questions, but trying to answer questions, I'm not getting anywhere. So it's been a long day. It has a lot to do with it. Just doing other things, other mission assignments. I was having time counter sessions. We have a scheduler. We have the shop here. I forget where I'm at. Same situation here. We have the upcoming event. That's what the Journey to Truth was about. So you can sign up. And there's a payment plan, and I guess it's the Grand Canyon. I don't know if I'm going to the Grand Canyon or not. We'll figure it out. The Grand Canyon is still, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Is it the speakers that are going to be there? And we have the webinars, social networking behind the scenes. And let's see, with Beetlejuice's energy, let's go to Edgar Allan Poe real quick. So Beetlejuice, the neither world. Shit. It's pretty damn funny. I'm not sure if anybody's what. He's a weird one. He has to get married for some bizarre reason. Of course, he even did the Batman movie, and they did some Beetlejuice stuff in that too. So it was, which can kind of throw you off a little bit. Of course, you have the cartoon. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it was like a nice kids movie. And it's good for goth kids. I think it was on for quite some time, actually. 3 years. That's not too bad. But that's really his claim to fame as a cartoon, because the movie wasn't. It's just one movie. Anyway. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And Edgar Allan Poe, of course. Let's see, poems. Yeah, the Raven's the biggest one. Yeah, make it weren't in school, then of course you don't remember anything. Yeah, we're not gonna go. And even in The Simpsons, back when The Simpsons was good, they had a pretty good episode about that. Back in the 90s. No, Simpsons is in the gutter. Is the world going to implode or anything like that? Who knows? That's not what this is about. So, all right, we'll do Beetlejuice. Let's see where we get with that one, and Edgar Allan Poe and Frankenstein, and we'll feel it out. Oh yeah, I was going to do the Alien movie, the space parasite. So I'll just tap into that. I was tapping into that, but the Frankenstein one came through. But as I was coming up with this, so with the space parasites, obviously just pulling the energy from others, because they don't. Space parasites have not been fully developed themselves, so they need the energy of other people. Think like dark matter trying to take over somebody, or at least get some of your DNA, something, so they can develop like a space parasite. Most likely doesn't have much of a personality. So if they attack somebody, possess them, or get their DNA or whatever, and they can get a piece of that to kind of assemble into their own energy, to create some kind of being. That's one way some do it, at least in that regard. Obviously, it's like a hijacking. Yes, it doesn't have the best intentions, but as you go more into the astral realm, it becomes more of the norm. Not everywhere, but yeah, especially on this planet. This is the Wild West here. That's all just the way it is. Life in this physical, at least in this dimension, in this universe. Okay, all right, we'll go into Beetlejuice, and we'll see what he's got for you. Blessings. Green Seaweed is the consciousness of Beetlejuice is not the full energy. You don't really want that. Yes, it's a ghost being that likes to eat beetles, that likes to eat bugs. So try naming yourself after the food that you like to eat. So it just gives, it's like you are what you eat. So it's basically Beetlejuice is kind of like a cockroach. A cockroach with a sense of humor. A cockroach in human form. You can say he's in a human suit, a human avatar. One should devour others. But he's gotten kind of a sense of humor over time. So that's another way to pull souls into his energy. And he doesn't know what to do with it half the times. He just wants to conquer. Doesn't mean it means anything. It's just something to conquer. That's it. Just a chaos being, basically. He will be understood by your society. I mean, some of you might deal with his energy, He's a little bit tough to deal with. Well, obviously, many of you don't need to connect to this energy, but he can become like an energy stalker, as what he was in the movie. He was a bit of a stalker there, kind of a predator energy. So there's other beings that are similar to that. Well, yeah, it's an insectoid being that eats insectoids that just takes a human body. So, and yeah, he can be squashed very easily. He's just a scumbag, basically. It's almost like a homeless person with a personality disorder. He's always sleeping on someone's couch, always eating all their food, taking everything. It's like a human dumpster. So he's trying to figure out his way in life. He's going to. I mean, he's famous now, so he's not going to change his ways anytime soon. Some of you put spells on to keep him away from you, because he does come through the mirrors. He does show up every now and then. Yeah, he's kind of a snarky pain in the ass. But we'll keep his energy short for now, because it's not exactly the healthiest frequency to connect to, but at least it gives you some idea of it. Damn. Green Suits is Edgar Allan Poe. My energy, I am still healing in the astral plane. I still have problems with others. I'm kind of like a gray soul, meaning my soul is not fully happy and probably won't be happy anytime soon. I kind of live off of misery. It did inspire others like Stephen King. Not that I'm a huge fan of that, but it is nice to be able to inspire others. But some of these writers these days don't go through enough misery. They have these fame and they kind of write these horror stories. But to be a true horror writer is to live a horror lifestyle, which I did. I was like my own worst enemy and still am. Well, some don't learn. I'm one of those people. I drink a lot, say things I should not be saying. You'd be glad I don't have the internet during my time. I would tell a lot of people off. I'll be banned just like anyone else is getting banned. But the poetry would be extremely just my legacy as it is now. It's just that, I could not help myself. I was, just kind of, you can say a fallen angel, you can say, but that's not exactly just the environment that I grew up in and the environment of others. But on a scholar level, I feel like I achieved a great deal mentally, but physically, I feel like I failed as a person. But I needed that shadow to create what I did. And yes, we created the first detective story. It might have been a little bit fantastic fantasy for others, but to me, it made perfect sense. Like orangutan, that was the murderer. Eventually, your world will be able to appreciate that more. It appreciates it now, but appreciate more in the future when you see that energy as a possibility. Right now, it's been tamed for obvious reasons. But my energy, my energy is kind to others, well, at least those I love, but violent to those I despise. Not that I'm going around attacking, but my anger just explodes. It's an energy I cannot heal in this earth lifetime, and I don't think I can heal it in this world at all. But I do feel, you can say, as a legend, but I did not sell myself out. Well, not I just pretty much fell apart as a human. If that's selling out, no, it wasn't. It just basically, my story was so pathetic. My life was just so petty, so deranged, so broken. It just attracted others to my legend. Similar to Edgar Poe, Van Gogh. It's like the more miserable you are, everyone starts to remember you. But during my time, I was slightly remembered. Praise to a certain level to my works, but still kind of tortured within myself. As many of you probably feel the same way. Like you want to scream every day. It's like you want to have a good day, but sometimes you wonder what's going to happen to you that day. And why is it so difficult to find happiness within yourself? Especially in my environment. Well, also the weather caused a lot of my difficulties, my health problems myself. Of course, the tuberculosis. Luckily, you don't have that now. Of course, now you have more mental, attacks these days. There my time you had that too, but people didn't live that long. It was actually amazing. I lived as long as I did. You can say gambling debts is what ended my life. I'll just put that out there. It's not the full reason, but I did kind of a drug. I had a little bit of a drug binge or alcohol, more a drug binge that was not exactly discovered. Uh, yeah, there was some heroin energy there. Of course, others scholars might disagree, but obviously I lived it. But you don't have to believe whatever you want. But I was always intrigued with mysticism, metaphysical energies, the unknown sciences, angels, demons, just the psyche of the human. How deep can a human go to insanity? And because I saw myself going into that level many times, I saw my mind go completely crazy, beyond belief. Because I keep running into the same cycles of death for those I loved. It's like myself almost felt like I was the one killing them with my energy. It's basically because I felt like I wasn't always there for them. I wasn't always completely genuine. Not that I was hiding anything back. But I would show love, but I was still holding a lot back. I wasn't always expressing myself in the full range. I mean, I expressed it, but not as much as I could have. Of course, the hopeless romantic, kind of like the Romeo and Juliet, you lose the love of your life just through circumstances. But my life just felt out of place. I mean, I did feel like I was a part of the era of my time. Like I felt like I was in the right time period. But I felt just my empathic self just felt misery. I could feel the intentions of others, and even my own intentions weren't the best either, especially when it comes to alcoholism. It just felt not myself. And now I'm in the spirit realms after all this time. My work does inspire others, but I'm still kind of searching for myself. After incarnating in a world like yours, you can't leave scarred. Not that I'm promoting that, but for me, it was this. I could always find a dark cloud. For me to find happiness was very difficult. The traumas of growing up, the traumas of my life, the traumas of trying to make a living. I mean, it just never ended. It's like one thing after the other. It's like one failure after the other. And some of you know what that feels like. Not that things have really changed in that level, but technology's changed. Technology is making people more crazy, more depressed. Well, because you're living longer than you used to. So that's the thing. Most of you did not get to live long lifetimes if those of you are incarnated. So you get to learn your lessons completely. So as soon as you're starting to get somewhere, you die. Not always, but a lot of times that's the case. Of course, there's some that live a long lifetime, like was Michelangelo. And I feel like, he might have been successful in life, but I feel like he learned nothing. And he learned some things, but I don't feel like he felt completely accomplished because it's kind of similar to me, kind of a half glass empty type of person. But once again, it has to do with the environment. Now, why would I choose a lifetime about like that? Was you can say just to go into my own darkness, my own madness. How far would it go? It went pretty far. Well, you can say I'm the reason why I had so many failures. Just my part of me did not want to succeed. Of course, you see those that succeed in your lifetime. And is that always what you want? I mean, you want to succeed academically, but it doesn't mean you always have to succeed, financially. It's like you put it out there, you create it, put it out there, and just let the world decide. Why, just while I fade out. If I was extremely successful during my time, I feel like I wouldn't be happy. Having a short life is more of what I wanted for that time, especially the environment, how people are getting sick. And tuberculosis is not something I wanted to go through in my own death. Of course, I did have some of that, but that's not why I died. Greetings. This is the consciousness of Frankenstein, or I'm more of the monster than the. I am not the scientist. The scientist can give a shit about life. I mean, yes, he wanted to be prestige, to be, at least according to the book's version, the Frankenstein, the mad scientist, wanted to be, academically loved. Because he didn't feel like it was loved at home, or he wanted to really accomplish something unique. And obviously, there's realities where I do truly exist and I am a myth. But it doesn't mean just like you have your, what is it, your Sasquatch, the Frankenstein monster can show also. But I can also show a great amount of kindness too. Obviously, it's only for certain beings that tap into. But I am here as all the other beings also. But when my creator invented me, I felt neglect. I felt like that I was just a product of the time and felt like I wasn't really loved and I was just a monster. So the stories are similar. Yes, I would meet children that would look at me as if I'm not a beast, or yes, a blind woman, and not see me as a beast and see me for what I truly am. And that truly gave me a reason to live, actually, because my creator made me not want to live at all. Yes, basically to kill him because he's just a monster himself. So I feel like I was actually a better person than him. Of course, I was disformed. I wasn't a normal person and pretty much fell apart over time due to my structure. But I've actually had incarnations like this before, where I'd incarnate into a man-made creature and go against its creator. Like we'd destroy each other together. And it's kind of like a twisted love story, like a father and son, but is ruined. And what's just fascinating, some of you out there somewhere have actually experiences like that. You're created as a Frankenstein monster, you have your father, and you fight. And there was also a Frankenstein mother too that would create, or a female Frankenstein that would create the creature, and it would be a female creature too. So to give you more aspects of that. But yeah, it's the Hollywood version makes it all cute. Oh, for the monster, let's put it this way: for Hollywood or become more part of pop culture, yeah, it's a fascination. Actually, when you think about it, having Frankenstein, like a monster being created by man, you have to admit that being part of pop culture is kind of twisted. It's almost like human rights gone wrong. It's like cloning. What the? You don't have cloning as a, as a Halloween create. Of course, you might have that now. But it's being incarnating into a body that's been created by man, and that body is decaying and just neglected, and just it's like being born into a corpse. It is being born into a corpse, and it's unnatural, and you feel like the body parts that you were living. You feel the energies of that. It's like you're a custom car or custom being, and you're just all these different mechanics, and you're just not yourself. So, yeah, it's like hell, basically. You can make it work over time. Eventually, your soul takes over your body, meaning that everything about you is now you. But it takes a while for that. So you kind of go crazy in the beginning for obvious reasons, especially when you're trying to speak and you never spoke before, and your father kind of told you to get lost, basically, or didn't understand you, and you went against them. It's like, what would you do? So, to give you some context of this, the Frankenstein monster and Frankenstein, the scientists, have done this before several lifetimes. I believe I said that before, but yeah, think about father and son constantly doing the same loop over and over again and killing each other. And sometimes we don't, usually we do because it's unnatural, but it's been done. Well, if you create something, but not to just see it as a freak and just to turn against it and try to kill your creation too, which is even worse. First off, it should be trying to get it understand it. That's not always the case. So it's a complicated. It's like a love. It's a family tragedy. It's not really seen that way. It's been Hollywood, but also they're telling you who's here. So some of you have incarnated here have like a father and son dynamic, have been through that situation. You might not remember it too clearly, but you never know, especially if you despise your father more than anything. It's like, there's good there somewhere, but once again, you're feeling a neglect. It's like, yeah, talk about, a family drama. So the reason I bring this through is for you to look at things a little bit differently. Once again, my energy is here as a kind frequency if you wish to connect to that. For those that feel like there's a connection there, obviously for those that are not, it's probably best just to stay out of it. But also, yes, there's the Dracula energy because my energy has been brought to that. And there are realities that does exist. And Dracula has always been kind of a prima donna. Always likes to get all the attention. He's kind of arrogant. Of course, I'm seen as the fool, but of course, I'm not always developed that well either. Well, due to how, I was like born yesterday. What do you expect? It's like you're born was almost like a 4-year-old soul in a human body, an adult body. It takes a while to adapt, but the soul can adapt in the right conditions. But of course, the speaking is probably the hardest. Functioning takes a while to get used to, but speaking, you have to teach yourself how to speak because nobody's helping you. Your father's not going to help you. Somebody's trying to set you on fire or try to kill you or whatever, or you're trying to kill him, whatever comes first. So the reason I bring this through is for those of you who have a connection to connect to your own mystery. And there has been Frankenstein. I'm just going to go there. That has killed Dracula because he's such a putz. Such a horrible. It's like Frankenstein, the creature becomes good, and Frankenstein or Dracula is always, blood-sucking monster. And that's not always the case, but a lot of times it is. Well, it has to do with his good looks. Usually, Dracula is very attractive normally and gets very seductive and just becomes evil. Obviously, there's a female. There's actually a female. Obviously, there's a male, female. There's a female version of that too. Of the male versions, it's basically your male seductor, and just now he can live off of not drinking blood. But why the hell would you do that? He could find other ways. He doesn't have to have blood to survive. It just, he just craves it. He can adapt his energy to something else, just regular food, and just use vampirism when he needs to, use his power. He still has his power. For vapor, turning into a bat, whatever it is, you can modify yourself. We don't have to suck people's bloods or anybody's blood for that matter. But it's basically a blood drug addict. So, just because you're a vampire doesn't mean you have to go sucking on everybody. No. It's just part of the myth here. It's just he wants to be known for that. So Dracula has been really twisted, or at least a vampire. because there are a lot of good vampires. They're vampire beings, but they don't eat people, suck their blood. They don't do anything. They can turn into different objects and all that. Turn into a bat. They can turn. Some can turn into a wolf. But they just. It's like it's a defense. It's like for the more positive vampires, like the last resort, they'll bite somebody, not to, but just to, whatever it might be. That might make a whole lot of sense, but they have their like to create a family member basically. And when part, yeah, it can be a sexual connection, but a lot of times it's mutual. It's like it can be one of us, or a vampire might want somebody as one of them, and that can become really selfish. But yeah, that's a tall order there, right? This is